Use z-scores to compare the given values. Based on sample data, newborn males have weights with a mean of 3,201.2 grams and a standard deviation of 540.4 grams. Newborn females have weights with a mean of 3,089.3 grams and a standard deviation of 684.3 grams. Who has the weight that is more extreme relative to the group from which they came? A male who weighs 1,700 grams or a female who weighs 1,700 grams? So, first thing is first, a z-score or standard score or standardized value is the number of standard deviations that a given value x is above or below the mean. So we have the sample z-score formula and the population z-score formula. In this case, the given values are from a sample, so we're going to use the sample formula. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to be able to first find the z-score for the males. So let's take a look at that. So for the males, okay, we know the following. Okay, and we're going to call this M. All right, we know that for the males, we have a mean, okay? So the sample mean for males at the top is equal to 3,201.2 grams. And we know that the sample standard deviation is equal to 540.4 grams. And the value of x, it says the male who weighs 1,700. So the value for x is going to be 1,700. So let's find the z-score for the males. So again, we know the formula is the data value x minus the sample mean over the sample standard deviation. So the data value x is 1,700, and then we're going to subtract the sample mean of 3,201.2, and then we're going to divide that by the sample standard deviation of 540.4, and then we're going to round our result to 2 decimal places. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have 1,700 minus 3,201.2, and then we're going to divide that by 540.4. And rounding that to 2 decimal places gives us negative 2.78. So we get negative 2.78. Okay, next, now we want to be able to find the z-score for the females. So we know that for the females, what does the sample mean? Well, the sample mean is given in the newborn females is equal to 3,089.3. The sample standard deviation is 684.3. And the value for x in the question is 1,700 grams. So now let's plug in the formula for the female. So we know that the formula is the data value x minus the sample mean over the sample standard deviation, and the data value is given to be 1,700. We're subtracting the female's sample mean, so that's 3,089.3, and then we're dividing that by the sample standard deviation of 684.3. And then we're going to round it to 2 decimal places. So we're going to take 1,700, subtract 3,089.3, and then we're going to divide that by 684.3, and we're going to round that to 2 decimal places, and we get negative 2.03. Okay, so now that we found our z-scores for the male and the female, now we need to determine who has the weight that is more extreme relative to the group from which they came. All right, well, since the z-score for the male is negative 2.78 and the z-score for the female is negative 2.03, the male has the weight that is more extreme. So therefore, we would say the following. The z-score for the male is negative 2.78. The z-score for the female is negative 2.03. And the male has the weight that is more extreme since it's further away from the mean.